talking about nice guys. In fact, I'm a little worried that we're not getting calls from the nice guys out there. Does that mean you don't exist, or you're too shy to call in, or what? 514-790-0991. You can also text your message or your question at 514-800. Men, are you confused as to what it takes to be successful with women? Do you consider yourself to be successful, maybe? And what's your secret? I know who's going to give us some secrets, and that's Frank Kermit, the author of From Loser to Seducer, and he joins me here tonight. Frank, what is it that you talked about seducing, and what is it that women want when being seduced? What does it mean to seduce?
In my philosophy, addressing a woman's primary emotional needs is what seduces her. So if I wanted to seduce a woman, I would look at what her emotional needs are, and let's say, again, based on my work, there are 10 main emotional needs for emotionally healthy women. Mm-hmm. You would have to figure out which one is the most important to the woman, which one is, say, least important, and then start addressing her emotional needs.
Well, how do you do that?
Well, it's depending on what you say to her and some of the actions you take. So let's look at one particular emotional need, and I'll give you an example.
Good.
Emotional need number 1, the protection of her most valuable asset, her reputation. If you can demonstrate to her that you are the type of man who can protect her reputation, that addresses her number 1 emotional need. Depending on the woman, some women are very, very, they hold their reputation in the highest regard, and other women really don't mind that other people talk about them good or bad. What I teach guys is that it doesn't matter initially if you know or not what her primary emotional need is, you're going to address all 10. And then depending on where she takes the conversation, that'll give you an idea of what's really important to her and what's less important to her. So, let's say I'm in a conversation with a woman, and she happens to ask me something about an ex-girlfriend of mine. If it's something that's really not her business, I'm willing to tell her, I don't talk about that sort of thing in public. The same way that what you say to me stays between you and me, I don't break other people's confidence unless I'm in a situation where, it could be a legal case or whatnot.
So what you're actually responding to her is a cue to her how she will be treated as well.
Exactly. You are now projecting to her that if she gets involved with you, you will continue to behave in a manner that you've already exhibited.
Smart. I like that. And that's very true. You have to really listen to what people say, because it in those situations it can give you so many clues as to somebody's character.
That's right. You don't believe everything they say, but you must believe everything they do. A person who says, "Well, I would never gossip." Well, that's great that they've said that. So test them. Talk to them and say, "Come on, what's the juiciest secret that your best friend ever told you when you were a kid?" If they go ahead and tell you that, then you know they're the type to gossip, regardless of whether or not they say they gossip or not.
Right.
I remember during my development, I ran into a woman. I wrote about this in my book. I ran into a woman who had seen me with another girl at a party a night or two previously. And so in conversation, she says, "So, did you go home with that girl?" And I simply responded in a very matter-of-fact, I wasn't yelling, I wasn't screaming, but a matter-of-fact tone, "Look, I don't know how you conduct yourself, but that's not a conversation for public, and it's certainly not something I'm going to discuss with you. That's between me and her, the same way that what's happening between you and me right now is between you and me." She immediately turns around and says, "Oh, of course. I mean, I was just kidding. I would never expect you." Well, basically, she was testing me to see whether or not I would be the type to kiss and tell.
So that would tell her, that's one thing that shows that you're actually a nice guy and not a big jerk.
That's right. Now, here's where nice guys will make a mistake. Because they're so interested in trying to please the woman that's right in front of them, they might hurt somebody else's reputation in talking to her. For example, she might ask in the course of a conversation, "How many women have you dated?" Well, he's thinking, "Wow, I'm going to prove to her that I'm honest." So he'll give out a number. "I've been with this many women." Well, yeah, he's being honest, but he's doing it in a way that she knows that if she has sex with him, he's going to bring up that particular point the next time some girl asks him that question. So he's not protecting her reputation.
Interesting.
See, nice guys fall into that middle category of men. Okay, there's the category of the jerks, the category of the nice guys, and the category of the creeps. All right?
I met a few of those.
Yeah. Now, here's the difference. A jerk will address many emotional needs of a woman, but he does so indirectly. That's why she may be willing to have sex and adventure with him. If she herself has some emotional dysfunctions, she may continue to pursue him seriously and long term. The nice guy only addresses some of women's emotional needs, but not enough that would make her feel romantic feelings towards him. This is the paradox of the nice guy. He's doing some things right.
Right.
But he's doing some things wrong, and that's why he's not getting her as a girlfriend.
And the creep?
Well, the creep is the guy that violates so many women of the emotional needs of a woman that she doesn't want to associate with him at all. So when a woman gets creeped out by a guy, she doesn't want to have anything to do with him. The nice guy addresses some of the emotional needs of women, but not enough. Here's an example. One of the emotional needs of women is, can she trust him to be honest even if it makes her mad? Most nice guys tend to be as honest as they can with a woman. But a nice guy doesn't like hurting a woman's feelings, so he might not be completely forthcoming with the truth as a means to spare her any hurt feelings. Although this is a nice thing to do, it violates that emotional need to a degree.
But then, Frank, that's when a guy becomes too nice. I was trying to establish, when is it? Where's the line? How do we draw the line from being a nice guy and being too nice of a guy that you're actually turning off women? And that sounds to me like when you're just thinking about protecting the woman and wanting to be liked by her and trying so hard that you then become the too nice of a guy.
Here's how we can break this down.
You know what? We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Hold that thought, Frank, and you'll tell us exactly how to break that down next up here on Passion.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the program From Friends to Lovers. Stop being her emotional cookie man. How does a man turn his female friend into his lover even when